Okay, guys, I finally found something. I found the key. I found keys. Where do they go? That's another question. Maybe to that? I'll try that. I finally found something! Oh my god, I've been walking around for a long time. Yes! I'm in. And what do I find? Oh, look at here. Look at this. Sanity's taking damage here. Pincers.
This lever must turn on the gas machine. I've got to hide before the guards see me.
Who did this? Is somebody here?
Hell's teeth. Fuller's gonna think we did this. We gotta tell him, though.
Awful. I can't switch that one on. Maybe I just need to leave now. Yes. That's first. Oh my god.
Doctor, is that you?
Don't you worry about the doctor. Right now, he'll have plenty to keep him busy with his precious machine. It gives us time to get away. I'll undo you.
Get away? Get away where? I can't go anywhere. It'll find me, like it found me here. You're mistaken about the beast. Don't stay with me, or you'll end up the same way.
You're Sanders, aren't you? I heard you from my cell. What did they do to you? What does Fuller want with you?
The doctor? You think it's the doctor who scares me? The doctor wants to heal me. But he's the one who's crazy. He wants to restore my sight. He wants to give me back my eyes. And yet I told him that I didn't want him. I do not want to see it anymore. The real culprit is Sara. Her and her accursed paintings.
You're kidding me. You're talking about Sara Hawkins.
The one and only. The legendary. There is no artist more enlightened or cursed than Sara Hawkins.
In her office, I saw signs of a ritual, perhaps an invocation. These things, that's what makes you say she's cursed.
You're wrong. It was not an invocation, but a revocation. But she failed. And that's what counts.
What's going on this island?
I'm so sorry. We should never have met.
What are you talking about?
Destiny! It has trapped you. No, don't let it see you, or you won't be able to escape it. Don't look at it. That's how it finds you.
What finds me?
Sara Hawkins' visitor. The Shambler.
Sanders, pull yourself together.
Shambler.
Without her, it's no longer possible to save me.
What now?
No!
Sanders! What the hell? Oh God. I gotta. Okay.
Okay, that was messed up.
This is insane. What killed him?
Yeah, what the Oh no. I just want to get out of here now. What the fuck just happened? Oh shit. What's this?
Damn! The gas! Oh,
Bradley?
my head.
Later. We need to move on.
Okay. What the hell? Pierce woke up in an asylum installed in the cellars of Riverside Institute. He met Dr. Colden, a female friend of Bradley who helped him to escape. Wandering through the corridors of this place where Dr. Fuller reigns supreme, Pierce was able to talk to a man called Francis Sanders. Before dying in full view of the detective, he accused Sara Hawkins of being the cause of his torments. Pierce finally left the accursed building, accompanied by Bradley and Colden. The companions in misfortune decide to use the Hawkins mansion as a hideout. I don't think that's a great plan.
Who goes there?
Just my dead
That
friend.
nightmare again. I need a drink.
Is he downstairs?
What you say is true.
That is precisely why I'll find evidence.
Fine. Do what you want.
You're awake, Mr. Pierce. How do you feel?
Like shit.
Did I sleep long?
The day is only starting. It's fine.
Okay, I need to see how the hell did you
How's our
survive?
fugitive? Dr. Fuller hasn't reported your disappearance to the force, but that'll come soon.
Bradley?
Who else would it be?
Mr. Pierce, are you all right? You look like you saw a ghost.
Well, he died, unless the uniform saved him.
There are things I can't explain.
Tell us. What happened?
What I'm sure of now is that the Hawkins case isn't just an accident.
And what brings you to that conclusion?
The fact that Charles Hawkins survived the fire.
I don't understand. Mr. Hawkins was buried.
That's what he would have you believe.
I have a hard time believing you.
You were there, Bradley. You even opened fire on him.
I'd remember that.
Why would he fake his own death? Do you think he covered up his wife's murder?
That's possible.
Seems hard to swallow. Don't you have anything more concrete, Pierce?
What?
Bradley, what do you remember?
I don't understand your question.
The night we went into the Hawkins mansion. You don't seem to remember the tunnels and what occurred there.
No memory of going down any tunnel. No, we were in the manor, then,
Then what?
The rest is quite blurry. I don't recall how I came back home.
And then?
I went to visit you at the hospital, and called on Marie's help to get you released.
And you don't remember the events of the tunnel?
I don't. Let's talk about something else.
What the hell?
Seems you two know each other pretty well.
It's a tiny island. Everyone knows everyone. Especially since I'm a police officer and Marie's a doctor.
The chemistry is obvious.
I do seem a little bit stupid, don't I? Anyway, let's get back to the business at hand.
I don't really trust him right now.
Dr. Fuller seems to be leaving a trail of corpses. Not to mention those strange machines, and chains, and tools of all kind.
Yes. I've been telling you that Fuller uses his patients as guinea pigs.
What I saw was more akin to torture than medicine.
Do you even hear what you're saying? Dr. Fuller is highly respected.
It's the truth, Ethan. And I'll prove it to you. I'm listening, Mr. Pierce.
Given the energy he pours into Riverside, I presume it was Fuller's creation.
His father's, to be correct. He was a surgeon on board the Scylla. He founded the hospital in 1904 with funds from the Hawkins family before he died and his son Thomas Fuller took over.
Two families inextricably linked.
Most island families are that way. Captain Fitzroy's father was also a seaman aboard the Scylla.
Powerful families dominating everything.
Yes, and as you could tell, Dr. Fuller is like some crazed emperor.
He wouldn't be happy if he knew we were snooping around.
I know the risks. I don't fear him. Do you wish to know anything else?
I found a file bearing Sara Hawkins' name in the Institute's basement.
It makes sense. A powerful family like the Hawkins had the means to hide such a disgrace.
But everyone knows the Fullers have been taking care of the Hawkins for at least a generation. And all were aware of Mrs. Hawkins' fragility.
Perhaps, but no one would allow a psychiatric internment.
From what I read in the file, Fuller used her as a subject of his experiments.
Francis Sanders and Sara Hawkins, subjects of Dr. Fuller. Why those two?
They have some connection to Cthulhu. But we don't know that yet. I just think so.
I have flashbacks. They haunt me.
What did they do to you?
There was that Dr. Fuller and a nurse. Blood everywhere. My legs, the pain, I couldn't bear it. I was screaming. They injected me with something. I woke up at the Institute. Bradley was there.
And how you scared us. You seemed demented.
You likely woke up during the anesthesia. No wonder those memories haunt you. What in God's name were they doing to you?
What happened afterwards?
When I woke up the second time, I was in a padded cell. That's where you found me, Doctor. After you released me, I got a good look at what's in store for the patients of the Riverside Institute. Hallucinogenic gas pumped into the cells. An infernal machine. Horrific medical experiments.
Impossible. Dr. Fuller would never do such a thing.
You should believe it, Ethan. What Mr. Pierce saw is precisely what I've been trying to prove. Did you discover anything else?
I met a Francis Sanders. Do you know him?
Of course, he's a patient. Or was. I haven't seen him since Dr. Fuller had him transferred to the basement.
He knew Sara Hawkins, and that's what killed him.
What? How did he die?
I'm not sure I can explain it.
He...
Tell me how Mr. Sanders died.
Some messed up shit.
I didn't see what, but something was there, with us.
Of what do you speak?
Sanders said it was Sara Hawkins' visitor. He spoke of it like a living being.
Sara Hawkins? Have I missed something here? This makes no sense.
Nope.
I don't see how it can help crack the Hawkins case.
You really think she's involved? How could she have murdered Mr. Sanders?
Francis Sanders mentioned Mrs. Hawkins just before dying. It's no coincidence.
You know, Francis Sanders was a well-known art collector. I guess you can still pay a visit to his wife, Irene Sanders.
An art collector, you say? That's probably how they met.
If you plan on having dinner at the Sanders household, please spare the widow the tale of her late husband's suffering.
I don't agree. She deserves the truth.
But that truth may be biased. We don't know the bottom of it.
You're right. Without a plausible explanation for what I saw, let's not jump to conclusions.
That seems wise indeed.
Very well.
This will
I'll go to
affect
see
your
Francis's
destiny.
widow. Perhaps I'll find a link between her husband's death and Sara Hawkins.
Don't end up in the hospital this time.
I'll do my best.
Oh my god.
The other night's events are still confused in my head.
Let us go now and learn the truth about what's happening on this island.
Nothing good. I am pretty sure it's absolutely nothing good on this island. Let's go talk to the widow. Sanders residents. Pierce, Colden, and Bradley decided to team up to solve the Sara Hawkins case. They have a new trail to follow. Francis Sanders, an art collector and friend of the painter, who died right in front of Pierce. The detective goes to his house in order to speak to his widow about the shambler that the unfortunate man mentioned before he died. The shambler. Shambler. I vaguely recognize that. Maybe a Lovecraft creature, but I'm not sure. I have a book about Lovecraft creatures that a friend gave to me.
What can I do for you, sir?
Mrs. Sanders, I'm a private detective. We must talk about your husband and his ties to Sara Hawkins. Can I come in?
You may. However, before we go any further, please know that my husband died yesterday.
That is precisely what brings me here.
Cat.
Well, well, look who's here. You know each other.
We met briefly. Time enough to iron out a few matters. The main thing is that we understood one another. The brave detective has a talent for sticking his nose into my business.
I bump into her every time I'm investigating someone's death.
It's a small island, Detective. My island. It's better that it's you bumping into me.
You're investigating Francis' death. Why? Who hired you?
I spoke to Francis before he died. His story suggests a link to a case I'm working on.
Well, since this business has got nothing to do with me, I'll be in your husband's office, Irene. We'll carry on later.
Very well, Miss Baker. This way, Mr. Pierce. And do make yourself comfortable. It would seem that you have much to tell me.
Mm-hmm. You seem to take your husband's death very calmly.
May I inquire as to when you had the opportunity to talk to my husband?
Yesterday, I met him at the hospital. He spoke to me about Sara Hawkins.
Oh, of course he spoke to you about her. That's all he talked about. Sara Hawkins and her paintings. Please forgive my tone. The fact is that I have not been allowed to see him since he was interned. You, on the other hand, a perfect stranger, were able to see him and even talk with him the day he died. How was he? Were you present when he had this attack? What happened?
What happened to your husband is terrible, Mrs. Sanders. But from what I saw, it was inevitable. The man I met yesterday had lost his reason. He suffers no longer, if you would allow me such a platitude.
Of course. Thank you for your kind words. Nobody in that hospital would have deigned to speak them to me. However, it will require more than that to soothe my mind. I need to understand. How could this happen? In a reputed institute? And right before your eyes? Did you not do anything to help him?
How could I?
Mrs. Sanders, I understand your grief, and I extend my deepest condolences to you. But I had nothing to do with the death of your husband. I've just arrived on Darkwater. I'm investigating the death of the Hawkins family.
The death of the Hawkins family? You mean it was not an accident? This accursed island knows only tragedy after tragedy. You too would be advised to flee it like the plague. Oh, I'm tired, Mr. Pierce. I would be grateful if you could tell me what you expect of me, and then leave.
How did you come to meet Sara Hawkins?
We were the wealthiest and most influential families on Darkwater. Of course we would know each other. And when Charles returned from Europe with his sweet little artist, she and her sinister paintings were destined to catch my husband's eye. He bought many of her works over the last 5 years. They adorn his macabre gallery.
I want to see that. And what the hell is it?
May I ask you what Miss Baker is doing here? How do you know her?
My business with Miss Baker is private, Mr. Pierce.
But you do know what kind of business Miss Baker is in, don't you?
I am no fool. Please believe that much, at least.
Did your husband talk to you about Sara Hawkins' visitor? A shambler, to use his precise terms.
Well, you can imagine that's all he talked about. It's exhibited at the center of the gallery. No better place for the painting that endowed him with the privilege of such a shameful and miserable end to his life.
Hold on. The Shambler is a painting by Sara Hawkins.
Who else to paint such horrors? Take a look for yourself, if you feel so inclined.
It is my only lead at this stage. I suppose I have nothing to lose.
Then you have paid no heed. For my part, I refuse to set foot in that gallery again. But if you're so eager to see it, I would urge you to make the most of your visit. Because I count on ridding myself of that thing as soon as I can.
Thank you, Mrs. Sanders. I won't be long. Did she really care for him after all?
Dear Madam, I acknowledge receipt of the letter in which you demand the body of your deceased husband. I am sorry to inform you that I cannot agree to return his body to you. At the moment of his interment, you signed the discharge allowing me to dispose of his body as I see fit. I extend my deepest condolences to you. Thomas Fowler. Bastard. Oh, I get points. I get a pointy. Wait, how many points? 5! Amazing. Which one should I go for? I mean, strength would help me. Great. And now I will pour everything into investigation. I think psychology is pretty good. Spot hidden is good as well. So many good things to have. Eloquent, what is that? Represents your ability to influence those you talk to by a power of speech. Improving this skill increases your chance of convincing or manipulating during discussions. Investigation increases your chance of understanding past events by analyzing a crime scene or an object, and of picking locks. I'm going with that. Validate. Yes. That was a lot of points.
The day the Shambler came into the Sanders' lives.
Photograph of Sara Hawkins next to the Sanders. They must be close. What? Really?
A house of artists.
Indeed.
Francis Sanders and Sara Hawkins were close. Friends, even? Sanders' accession register. He wrote beside the Shambler, "Finally." What did Sara Hawkins fear so much that she didn't want to sell the painting?
There's strange shit going on around here. Oh, what's this?
He finally won. Was Sanders aware of his imminent doom?
Maybe.
She first refused to sell the painting. How did that make her feel? Was she jealous of Sara Hawkins?